Welcome back to Andy Cooks and episode 2 of the Christmas series, and this week we're talking all about sides. So the sides we're going to run through today are a French style braised pea or petit plat à la française, excuse my pronunciation, which is basically braised peas and chicken stock with some bacon, some baby gem hearts and some mint. We're going to do some honey roast carrots with some pomegranate and some buttermilk dressing, and then the classic roast potatoes, but instead of duck fat, we're going to use Wagyu beef tallow. So let's get stuck in. But before you do me a favor, if at any point during this video you take something from it, go smash that like button. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe for the rest of the Christmas series coming up. All right, let's get started with the potatoes. So first you need a pot of cold water. Then peel your potatoes. So these are blue royal potatoes. The skin's blue, not the flesh. These work really well for roasting. You can also use Yukon Golds if you're in the States, or russets. Anything that works well for roasting or chipping will work well for these. So I'm going to get these peeled, and then we're going to cut them into the right size. I think that's about the perfect size for a potato. We will cook these anyway to get these little crispy bits, but that's the size you're looking for. So traditionally roast spuds are roasted with duck or goose fat, which gives them a really nice flavor, but I've been loving using the Wagyu tallow lately. If you're a big meat smoker or meat enthusiast, you can also render your own fat. All right, potatoes peeled in water. We're gonna season them well, 2 good 3-finger pinches, and then onto the heat, bring them up to the boil. While we're waiting for these to come to the boil, it's a really good time to get your oil ready. So we're gonna get an oven tray. We're gonna put the Wagyu tallow into it, and then we're gonna put the whole thing in the oven and get that thing ripping hot. You want that in the oven at 220 degrees for at least 20 minutes or until the oil just starts to smoke. So we're just gonna let these steam for a minute just to let them dry out a bit, and then we're gonna toss them and rough the edges up. So this tray is screaming hot. We're gonna turn the temperature down to 180 and we're gonna pull this tray out. Really carefully, you can either pull the whole tray out, or if you've got an oven like this, that you can take it out safely, you can do it right here. So really carefully, spuds go in. So we're gonna push them back in really carefully. Come back and check them in 15 minutes. All right, so beautiful golden brown roasties into a bowl with some paper towel. So these took about 45 minutes in total. There's a lot of oil still left over. Make sure you keep that. You can use it again. It's delicious stuff. Do not throw it out. Make sure you get all these little crunchy bits too. All right, so we are gonna just give them a little toss. Make sure you've just got as much of the beef fat off as possible before pulling the paper towels out. And then you can season these with just sea salt, or I'm going to use the rosemary salt that we used on the roast beef in last week's video. If you haven't seen that video, go watch that now. Well, maybe once you finish this video. So a good seasoning with rosemary salt. And there we have it. If these aren't some of the best roast potatoes you've ever eaten in your life, I'll be very surprised. All right, let's get started on these carrots. So the carrots, we aren't gonna peel these, we're just gonna scrub the skins, but to start with, we're just gonna take the tops off about here. We're gonna be fancy and keep those little tops on. You can take the little scraggly bits off the end. Once I've done that, we'll go over to the sink and we'll give them a scrub. All right, to clean these, you're gonna grab a brand new scourer and you're just gonna rub it up and down the carrot, and you're basically taking the really outside layer off and any dirt, and then pay special attention up in that top where the carrot top comes out. Make sure there's no sand in there, and we're good to go. And onto a nice clean tea towel to dry. Onto a roasting tray. Nice drizzle of olive oil. Some honey. Probably need to take that off first. Good season with sea salt. Then we go into a 200-degree Celsius oven for 25 to 30 minutes until nice color, so you can just pierce them with a knife or a fork. All right, super simple buttermilk dressing. We got some buttermilk, obviously, equal parts buttermilk to sour cream. Now the sour cream complements the sourness of the buttermilk, which will complement the sweetness of the honey roast carrots. And the sour cream also just thickens it a bit. Good season of salt. And work that sour cream into the buttermilk. And that's the consistency we're looking for. Just gonna pop that in the fridge till we're ready to serve. All right, the other garnishes, some pomegranate and some chives. So, prepping a pomegranate. You can cut it straight down the middle and bang each end, but I don't like to do that because I find you pop all the seeds. So, cut the top off, and then you're gonna see these lines here. You're gonna score on the outside of the flesh where you see those lines. Then you should be able to break it away. And then you're gonna get these clusters of the berries, which you're just gonna be able to push through. And that way you don't pop all the seeds when you're bashing the back of it with a wooden spoon. And there you have it, a perfectly popped pomegranate without a super big mess and without all your seeds burst. All right, carrots are ready, time to start plating. So we're gonna start with our buttermilk dressing on the bottom. Next we layer up the carrots. Some pomegranate. Chives. And we're just gonna finish it with a drizzle of some really good quality olive oil. And there we have it, our honey roast carrots with buttermilk dressing and pomegranate. Now let's cracking on the Le Petit Pois à la Française. The peas, or Petit Pois à la Française. Now I think that literally translates to peas French style. I could be wrong, let me know in the comments if I'm wrong, but anyway, I made this dish heaps back when I was living in London. So you can use fresh peas like I am here, or you can just use frozen peas if you really want to. Now fresh are a lot better, but sometimes they're kind of hard to get, especially in the heat of summer in Australia. But if you are going to use fresh peas, don't be an idiot like me and make someone else pop them. And if you're going to use the frozen peas, make sure you defrost them first. Anyway, I'm going to pop these and then we'll carry on with the rest of the ingredients. Make sure you check for caterpillars too. These things love these peas. See ya, buddy. All right, peas popped. Let's get the other ingredients ready. So, Le Petit Pois à la Française. Like I said before, the literal translation is French style braised peas. Anyway, bacon. This is raw cured and cold smoked bacon, but any bacon will do. You can just use something that's smoky. So even some guanciale or some Kaiser, some nice smoky flavored bacon. So we're gonna dice this up. We're gonna get it into a pan and render it out and get it a little bit crispy before we add our peas, stock and butter. And almost forgot, once you got your bacon halfway through, add in a couple of sliced spring onions or shallots. In with some butter, the raw peas, some chicken stock, season of salt. We're just going to braise these for 6 or 7 minutes. Now while these are braising and the chicken stock's reducing, we're just going to go and cut our baby gem hearts. So head of baby gem, bottom off, in half, and chiffonade, or nice and fine. And I also like to put through the greens of the spring onions that we didn't put through when we were cooking. And this is not traditional, but I also like to put some torn mint leaves in there, but we'll do that right at the end. Let's see how these peas are going. So you can see that that chicken stock is almost completely reduced, and when it's pretty much completely gone, we're going to emulsify a bit more butter in there because, because France. Another few pieces of butter in there, and emulsify that in. And then we'll take it back over to the chopping board. We'll stir through our baby gem and spring onion greens, and we're ready to serve. That's hot. In goes the gem, spring onions. Just stir that through to wilt it down a little bit. Everything should be nicely dressed, but you shouldn't really have a pool of liquid left. That looks pretty good to me. Last little piece, get the mint in there, stir that through, and then we're ready to serve. So, couldn't be easier to serve this one. Lay it nicely into a plate. And then Finish it with a little bit of olive oil, because why not? And there we have it, la petite pâte à la française, or French style braised peas. And there you have it, guys, my 3 suggestions for your sides this Christmas. I hope you make one or all of these. As you can see, they're delicious because the crew could not keep their mouths off them. Leave me a comment below what one you're going to try this Christmas. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe if you're not, like if you haven't, and we'll see you next week when we talk all about Christmas desserts.